beginnings, mids, aim, and soon to be plenty more. So I'll talk about that sometime soon. Um, it is Tuesday, so it is time for another Tech Talk Tuesday. Hope you are all doing well. Uh, Hopefully, all of you in North Carolina, Texas, and I think Arkansas went out and voted last week in the primaries. Major elections made your voice known um, to the man or the woman, whatever the case may be. So, that being said, I've got a couple things I want to talk about for AI. I know it's amazing. It's a Tech Talk Tuesday all about AI. All right. So, the big thing I want to touch on because I've had some discussions with some folks recently was about AI and I mentioned last week it's a tool, right? And tools are neither good nor bad. Um, they are a product or by the person and persons or organizations who wield them, right? So, most important thing to keep in mind is that at this point in time, right? And it's the same with most tools. Lots of businesses are putting in AI tools, AI solutions into their workflows, trying to jump on the AI bandwagon, which can be commendable at first, but AI is an accelerator, right? So, um, if you are taking AI and putting it in, and you were heading in the wrong direction to begin with, AI is just going to get you to the wrong place a lot faster than you would have normally. So, it's an accelerator. You definitely need to make sure that you're putting in some guardrails or a brake pedal if necessary in some directions, right? So, um, again, it's not AI that I have problems with. It's what people are building on top of it, right? So, the analogy that we've always used or we use when we talk about these things is, you know, anytime you start working on your business, trying to improve your business, even when you start your business, right, you build it on some type of foundation. And, you know, if you're building a tool shed, the foundation doesn't really matter, right? So you get your company up to $500,000, $1 million, whatever it may be, and you'll get there for if you've got something worth delivering and worth selling, you'll get there with some determination and perseverance. The problem becomes once you try to get beyond that, because what's required to build a tool shed is completely different than what's required to build a skyscraper, right? Tool shed you can pretty much just put on whatever type of ground you want to. A skyscraper or even a house, right? You have to have a solid foundation, right? You can't just build on sand and expect it to be able to scale and to grow any higher than maybe like I said, the first floor of a tool shed, a couple $100,000 or whatever. So AI, again, like I said, is an accelerator, and AI is a chance for a reset for a lot of people, right? Or it should be, right? So if you got yourself to where you are and you got a million or so in revenues, um, you need to start looking at your foundation anyway. So now's a great time with AI to start looking at what you built and how you make it um, better, more solid, something that can actually scale up, right? Not something that just got put together. So beware the fly by nights. I don't want to call them fly by nights. That's not true. But the quick, fast, easy fixes from AI consultants who are going to do that, this, that, and the other thing, and who don't ever look at your business. Now, when we do it, we have one or two quick things that we'll do that, regardless of when you do it, it doesn't really matter. Say a web chat bot, right? That's something that can be rolled out in a week or two, and is not going to affect mostly the operations of your business, right? It could help alleviate questions and cut down some traffic as far as you're having to answer questions that are easily answered type of thing, right? Or a virtual receptionist type of thing. Again, not going to be one of those things that affects your business too much, right? So those are quick wins, and a lot of people will push them out. That's fine. But when you start talking about more in-depth things, workflows, and pain points, right? Where's the friction in your business? That's what AI is here. We're using AI to eliminate friction from your business, to take the humdrum, boring, mundane out of your business, um, but to do so in a way that's effective, right? So again, now we're talking about planning, right? This is where we go. We want to build a 3-story house, so sand isn't going to cut it. So what do we need? So this is where we go and talk to architects and engineers, to start planning out what type of foundation do we need, and that's where you should start with AI, right? Other than, like I said, a couple of quick wins, right? Um, you want to take a look, an in-depth look at your business. This is a great time for you to evaluate your business and think about, hey, how AI can help you leverage your existing infrastructure, leverage the folks that you've got working for you, and build bigger impacts. It's a great time for that. If you've never done it, now's the time to do it. If you're talking to AI consultants, this should be the conversation they want to have with you, right? It's like, how are you built? What's your foundation? What does success look like, right? Because again, if you just want a really, really big tool shed that's just humongously long, um, yeah, you can still build that on sand probably. You'll probably get away with it. You want to build some castle, or some high rise out of your business. Yeah, just laying down some stuff isn't going to get you there, right? So now's the time to plan. Um, so that's the big thing, right? Make sure that you are setting up for success, right? Um, don't just connect Chat GPT to your business and your data files. Um, 1 or 2 automation workflows, those are great. And chatbots, those are kind of cool too. But chatbots are so 2025, believe it or not. With the acceleration of AI, chatbots are kind of so 2025. So, God only knows what I'll be saying about something like OpenClaw maybe this summer. Going, oh my God, OpenClaw is so winter of 2026. It accelerates that quickly now. We've seen AI's quintuple in power and performance in the past 6 months, right? Not just 5 years, 6 months, quintuple, 5 times, 5 times the power. Um, I don't know if we're going to hit a limit due to data constraints as far as how many data centers they've got, um, or how much memory is available. By the way, if you're out looking for a new computer and you can't figure out why it's so expensive, yeah, it's because of AI data centers and memory. They're taking all of it. Last week, or maybe last month, which, given where we're at, was only a week or 2 ago, um, Apple agreed to pay Samsung twice what they were paying them for memory. Twice. Nothing. Just twice. So, because they knew they had to, right? It's the nature of the beast. A lot of resources going to AI data centers right now. So, as long as they keep up, prices are going to be artificially high for this type of stuff. So, um, back to what you're building your company on. Make sure that you're owning the strategy, that you're not necessarily renting someone else's technology. Now, um, there are going to be certain pieces that you are renting, right? You could get a box, and put it in your office, and run an LLM, which is a large language model, which is what ChatGPT is, or Claude, or Copilot, or whatever. But they're going to be limited because, again, like I said, they're building full data centers for these things. And you've got a little desktop box. Even a great desktop box is still going to be limited compared to data center on what type of data you can crunch, right? So, and learn and store. So, um, again, you can run one internally and keep some private data and redact it. I have a colleague who mentioned that that's what they do. Is they've got a box on site that its job is to make answers if it can, and if it can't, go out to its larger brothers, and get the answers. But before it sends the data to crunch, it redacts the data so that there's no sensitive data in there before they send it. But you want to make sure that AI is an engine and strategy is your vehicle, right? So you want to know that it's yours, right? It's not going to be something that goes away just because you switch vendors or something like that. Because data is really the true treasure here, right? So, um, back to our analogy, strategy is the vehicle, AI is the engine. But the big value and where AI consultants come in is knowing where to drive, right? Helping you determine where to drive, right? Because at the end of the day, it's your business and you know where you want to go. So, all right. What else do we want to talk about for this thing? I think I've hit most of these things. Again, data is data is the gold in this mine, right? And that's what you're looking for. You're looking to leverage your data. You're looking to figure out patterns and serve your clients better and increase your efficiencies, right? So at the end of the day, you also need to decide where your data is living for all this stuff, right? You don't want to just give access to anyone or anything like OpenClaw. A lot of people loved OpenClaw and they just open up everything and it would just go nuts, right? I'm not picking on OpenClaw. Again, it's a tool, good or bad. It's how you implement it, right? You want to make sure that with AI, you've got some accuracy, right? I built a tool, a small tool this weekend, and it was timing out on where it was getting the data from one of our sources. And so it started making stuff up, which was really fun. I knew it was making up the data because I was looking at it going, put it this way, I was asking some information about clients and revenues and stuff like that. And well, not only were the numbers a little off, but after I think client number 4 out of the 10, yeah, we don't. Those companies may exist somewhere, but they've never been clients of ours. And yet they were in the report that I was getting out. So again, you need to make sure that you're checking your data sources and having some redundancies and checking for accuracies, right? And putting in some guardrails, right? I was able to stop it with a code tweak that it would not hallucinate anymore, which is what those are called, and feed me the data I wanted to be fed. And that worked. Of course, instead of making stuff up, it basically told me that, yeah, it couldn't provide me with that data, which is a much better answer, right? Actually reminds me of my days in the military um, and the difference between enlisted training and officer training, because I was enlisted and then I did ROTC for a little bit. Um, when you were enlisted, if you didn't know the answer, you told people you didn't know the answer because you can't know everything, right? And you would rather tell someone that you don't know what's going on than to make something up and put lives and equipment in danger. The complete opposite was true when I went into ROTC. Uh, they had boards for review for cadet of the quarter or whatever semester. Um, and the advice from my senior cadets at the time was if you don't know it, confidently make up the answer. And I was like, that's probably when I thought ROTC was not going to be the way for me forward. Um, because I tell my children this stuff, I tell my employees these same things. Here's a business lesson, right? Is if you don't know the answer, tell people. We'll find people who know the answer. Don't make something up. Don't lie, right? Because people could get hurt. In business, not the end of the world. In the military, yeah, people could die. So, yeah, horrible example for ROTC. Um, where was I? Oh, yes. So, data, whether it's accurate or not, whether it's being made up, and whether it's being leaked out, right? You want to make sure you're controlling that data. So, sometimes a large language model internally might be a good answer. Mac Minis are doing great work for that. They've just got a lot of processing power. You can stack a lot of memory in them, or Mac Studios. And they've got shared memory between the video and the processor. And of course, video and RAM, video processors and RAM work great for AI. So, anyhow, like I said, if you're going to use AI, make sure that you're building on a solid foundation. Make plans, dig deep, think about where you've got it, think about where you want to go, and take this opportunity to think about your business as a whole. This is a great, like I said, great place to start thinking about these things. So that being said, I kind of wanted to pivot a little bit. I might go a little bit long this week. Last week was primaries. No surprises in North Carolina. For Senate, the Democrat candidate won by 94%. I think the Republican candidate won by 80% or something like that. So not quite as much as the Democrat, but still. What I want to go over is, again, AI is neither good nor bad. It's a tool. And there's an estimate that tens of millions, actually hundreds of millions of dollars will be spent in the state of North Carolina this year for the Senate seat, because North Carolina is a purple state and it could go Republican or Democrat. Um, and so both parties will be just throwing money at the state like it's going out of style. And while in the past, both sides have been known to stretch the truth, admit the truth, and sometimes outright lie. Usually it's more of a lie of omission or taking something out of context, I think, for most of them. Um, I'm sure there have been lies, outright lies. Um, it's even easier now because you can now generate content, um, damning video footage, right, of a candidate, right? Or and you can clone their voice, you can clone their face, or you could clone their relatives, right? Their wives or kids or whatever, and their voices or whatever, right? So, and in this age of people just tribalizing and doom scrolling, um, and quick hits, uh, people don't take the time to think about whether or not it made sense, right? And there could be, besides the direct obvious, which is one of the candidates saying something out of turn on a hot mic and it's actually AI, versus somebody Joe Schmo, Jane Schmo, off the street doing something that emphasizes what one side or the other wants to take as a talking point. And I'm not saying the parties necessarily are doing this. Maybe not even the PACs that I think are evil are doing it. It could just be some citizen, right, who thinks that they're serving the greater good, serving their side by generating false generative um, content, right? So I've said it before. I said it in the last major elections because it was available then for generative AI videos and voice. It was just expensive, right? It was you got to have PAC money type thing, right, or party money to generate them, or state money, like as in North Korea, Iran. Pick a country who doesn't like us. Um, now, now you just got to have some spending money, some walking around, some money, some pocket money, and you can build these things if you've got some time and wherewithal. So, um, that being said, I will probably be hammering on this for the next 6 months, because why not? I'll just mention a little bit every day. Look out for fake scandals. Look out for fake speeches. Look out for fake evidence. Look out for fake outrage. Right? Fact check as much as you can. Social media is not the place you fact check. Just in case you were wondering, in case nobody's ever told you this, I've been in IT and we've been working with computers since the 80s. Yeah, it's worse now than it's ever been. People have short attention spans and they just presume that because they saw it on the internet, it must be true. The only thing true about that is that the internet is forever. Anything you create and post there can be used against you um, later. So, take your right to remain silent and apply it. Um, I posted on social media last week, y'all are forgetting what your mamas and your memas told you when you were growing up. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I will leave you with that, other than my normal taglines, which are, aim higher, work smarter. And cybersecurity starts with you. Hope you guys have a great week. Look forward to talking to you next week. Don't know what we're going to talk about, but in the meantime, enjoy.